working on something here and I can't pull them up because my computer died, but let's get one more thought here. Special guest as we wrap up our pre-draft coverage on CLNS Media, Evan Lazar in his Celtics championship hat. We don't have enough time to unpack that. How you feeling this morning, Evan?
I'm doing well, guys. How are we doing?
We're all
better now.
Pretty happy about the class. We were just talking about, the finer points of the long snapper battle and what we're going to be watching for there. So if you want to pick us up right there and give us your takes on that. No, but you're obviously, we were both Will Campbell guys, so we'll take that off the board. Your favorite pick that the team made this weekend?
I would say my favorite picks were those back-to-back picks on day 3 on the defensive line, because it just kind of put a bow on the entire draft to me. I thought that was the one spot, after they took Woodson, I was like, they could really get into this edge class. Like, give me one of these edge guys, right? And then they take Braden Swinson and Joshua Farmer, who's a player that I liked as well. So I think we all can praise the top of the draft and be excited about the skill players and Campbell and Wilson. But that seemed to really put a bow on the whole thing by landing those two guys.
And then I got to ask you your favorite from the UDFA class, because we were just talking about that.
Yeah, C.J. Dupree from Alabama, the tight end. I thought he was going to get drafted. I was pretty surprised that he made it to undrafted free agency. And I think we all probably have talked ad nauseum about potentially adding one of these young tight ends to the room and somebody that could develop behind Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper. And I think Dupree can definitely check that box as well. So the fact that they were able to scoop him up as an undrafted rookie, I really liked his blocking tape. Thought he was one of the better day 3 blockers in this class. He tested well, so maybe there's some untapped receiving potential there as well. But I think he could definitely make this roster as a third blocking tight end, which if you're going to make the team, that's going to be your role right there. Special teams, blocking, that type of stuff.
So I got to say, I was expect Evan is begged for the separation receiver for years. I thought Kyle Williams and Efton Chisholm were going to be those two answers, but I think what he just did is kind of surmise what this Patriots offseason is about. 2 offensive linemen and two defensive linemen, a blocking tight end. Trenches. Evan, I'll ask you what I just asked the guys, and then we'll wrap it up here. Biggest storyline you're looking at heading into spring practices?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. I would say, I'm sure that we've all been there. When you watch the receivers in the spring practices, some of these guys just are instantly good, right? And you get really excited and you get a little bit overzealous about some of it. Alex, Taekwon has burned me probably 2 straight training camps.
You're not going down to Bucks camp to watch Tez Johnson?
Yeah, right.
I'll go with you. You can watch Tez Johnson. I'll watch Desmond Watson. We'll report back.
Yeah, exactly. So the speed guys at receiver tend to flash in these non-padded practices. So I expect Kyle Williams to look good in the spring and early summer until the pads come on. So I'm going to try not to get duped by Kyle Williams, running by people when they can't actually, put their hands on them. So we'll see what happens there with him. So I'm excited to see what he does, though, and I'm intrigued by the skill set, obviously. Barth was first again on Kyle Williams. You told me about Kyle Williams probably 8 months ago.
I actually found the text.
I found it. Humble brag, right? Yeah.
January 25th.
Yeah.
I texted Evan, I'm watching Kyle Williams from Washington State. Dude looks like a legit day 2 guy, and the consensus board has him at like 8:30. What am I missing?
Yeah, no, you weren't missing.
Oh, Barthy.
You weren't missing. Yeah, he's an exciting player for them, though, and just anybody that brings some game-breaking speed and explosiveness to that offense. And I can't stop watching him run by Travis Hunter in 2023, right? Like that's the rep right there that you're like, man, if he brings that to the Patriots and that translates to the NFL, we all know how good at Drake May is at throwing the go ball. Like that's going to be a really fun connection between those guys. So I'm interested to see, obviously the skill players come the spring, but I'm going to try my best not to get too excited.
Are you going to stick around for goodbyes here? Or do you have to go start your 6-hour pregame Celtics playoff ritual?
I'll stick around.
All right. So as we wrap it up here, I mean, it's been quite the 4 months with you guys. I've enjoyed it. This was a they're all unique, but as far as draft processes go, this one was as unique as they come. Just a weird class. I think this was the hardest draft I've covered, top to bottom. Not necessarily from the Patriots' point of view, although that was part of it. New regime, you got to learn new tendencies, but the class just really you had to know a lot of players. The projections were pretty murky compared to usual across the board. You had guys that could go 20, that could go 90. We started off talking about Jack Sawyer as a first round pick. Where did he go? Won something?
Yeah,
to Pittsburgh, obviously. I know he went later on day 3, so but I enjoyed it. I had fun, and I appreciate it. We'll just go around. Tayler, your final thoughts on the class, NFL draft class of 2025 and the process.
I'd be very happy if I were Drake May. I think this regime committed to protecting him and adding weapons, and I truly think they did the best they could. Like Howden said, sometimes you take swings in free agency and it doesn't work out, but they came to the draft and they got it done in the first couple of days.
Mike.
On the draft in general, Alex, you mentioned it being the craziest one. I mean, the Shedeur Sanders saga is the craziest thing the draft has seen in a long, long time. Mel Kiper gave them an A+ this morning. He was almost crying on ESPN's set yesterday. So that mixed in with the Patriots kind of, helping out Drake May a lot. I think it's been a fun one. It's it's bittersweet with it being over. I think Alex can finally shut his eyes for the first time since Joe Milton beat the Buffalo Bills in Week 18. So no, it's fun. It's always fun covering it. We had about 12 plus hours of live draft coverage, Taylor and myself, and it makes it a lot more fun when we get so many guys in here, hanging out with us. So super, super exciting. And let's go on to the season now.
Evan, I was telling them, do you remember? So 2019 was the first year me and Evan covered the draft, and they were running out of gas on day 2. Me and Evan were live. If the longtime listeners will remember this, we were in the Patriots media room. This was so disrespectful. I can't believe we did this. We're in the middle of the room with everybody doing a live show. We would jump off. So they'd make the pick. We'd quick react. We'd jump off. And then so Evan could write, and then we jump back on 15 minutes later. I think we did 18, 19 hours live. It might have been more than that.
Yeah.
Over that first weekend. So
it was a marathon, and I remember Alex wrote on his a notepad to little notes, and then he would just tap his pen to try to tell me things while we were doing the show. And so he was kept on telling me to retweet the link to the show on my Twitter and stuff like that. And we just were rolling, and I mean, we've come a long way since then, but just going all the way back to 2019.
I found it. I actually counted it up. I overshot that a little bit. 9 hours, 25 minutes, 24 seconds. 8 hours, 20 minutes of it were live.
That's nothing. Me and
Taylor were
not
as you made it sound.
12 plus hours across 3 days.
You must have kicked us off late on day 3, Evan. You were probably all right. So
probably.
Company's growing. Good job, guys.
It was. Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
No, you can go because I wanted.
I was going to come back to you for your wrap up. So I was just a sidetrack that I shouldn't have even gone on because I was wrong. Brian, your final thoughts on the draft?
Well, I wanted to just end. We did this last year to end the show, and I went back and looked. A look ahead to 2026. We're going to put all you on the spot. One player. Last year, my one player was Colston Loveland. Mike, you had Shedeur Sanders.
Of course.
Taylor, you picked Travis Hunter because he was the only player you knew.
What were we picking for? The Patriots pick or best player?
Patriots pick.
Why did you pick Shedeur Sanders?
I took Shedeur.
Mike just said I'm interested. Mike just said I'm interested to watch Shedeur Sanders, and that was his analysis. Barth, you had Luther Burden, but then, in kind of credit to you, you said Will Campbell tackle, but you emphasized that, or you prefaced that by saying if Javon Baker and Jalen Polk are star wide receivers, then they can go tackle top of the draft, and I like Will Campbell. So you got the pick right, but the process to get there wasn't exactly right.
There.
So 2026, who's everyone's one guy to watch for? Way too early.
Taylor.
Although we hit a couple first rounders in that. So.
I'll go.
Mike's going to take Arch Manning.
No, I am taking a quarterback, oddly enough. Garrett Nussmeier. Will Campbell is dating
right.
Garrett Nussmeier's sister.
Taylor, go ahead.
That's pretty
You
cool.
can't do worse
I
than
didn't know that.
For the Patriots?
He could be a developmental guy. Put him in the room behind Drake May, and go from there. They didn't take their developmental guy.
Developmental guy might go in the first round,
like you wanted so bad. So Garrett Nussmeier, QB3, and
if we were doing around the horn style right now, you would have just been muted and
muted.
minus 1,000 points.
Taylor, go ahead. Who do you got?
Who's Alabama's left tackle? Is that Proctor?
Caden Proctor.
Yeah.
Caden Proctor.
It's not a good vouch for Will Campbell, but that could look like a good pick.
I just think you want to maximize him, don't you?
All right. Well, I also hope they're not picking that high. But
okay, yeah, that's also
Brian.
I don't know anybody else. You asked me second.
Fair enough. Look, you might end up being right. Who knows? If Campbell has to kick inside, you might end up being right. And if they're picking that high, it probably means Campbell wasn't good at left tackle. So it's not unrealistic. It's just a little pessimistic. Brian.
I'll stay with Bama. I love Jahad Campbell in this draft, so I'll just take the guy who's filling in for him, Deontay Lawson. Like, basically the same mold, great in coverage. He can play the run. So Lawson, my early look ahead.
Evan.
Proctor's a good pick by Taylor, even if, one's a left, one's a right tackle, right? I mean, Morgan Moses is 34 years old. So at some point they're going to have to worry about that. But, I'm a receiver guy. I'm going Carnell Tate, Ohio State. I just feel like that will be pretty much all of our assumptions right now is that number one wide receiver is going to be near the top of the list next year again. And I think Carnell Tate's going to be a star.
So Brian, you went, right? You took,
I know who Alex is going to pick already.
Well, so, all right, I'm going to pick two guys like I did last year, cause I suck. The guy I want them to get is Caleb Downs, the safety from Ohio State. That dude is unbelievable. He can play deep. He can play box. He can play everywhere, and he makes plays on the ball constantly.
They should not be picking there.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
If they are picking that high, one, they have bigger needs than a safety, and two, it's just unfortunate. So I'm also going to dip into receiver. I don't think Nick Harbor is going to come out next year. I think it's going to be another year. Casey Concepcion from NC State transferred to Texas A&M. He doesn't have the size, and I know they need that size, but you put him with the player we think Kyle Williams is going to be. It's a lot of speed. It's a lot of separation. He's, really good hand, solid catch radius. So he was unbelievable 2 years ago for NC State, kind of fell off last year because their quarterback play was terrible. I think he goes to Texas A&M. He bounces back. Patriots get him, dare I say, in the late teens. That's going to be my pick. So,
all right.
I just saw a mock draft 2026 with Garrett Nussmeier first overall.
Okay,
so
Mike.
I'll rescind that one.
I can't believe we're doing 2026.
He has the pocket
draft.
presence of a boulder. Okay. You got to let it go on that one.
Prize Picks is the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. And all you got to do is pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. So run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And right now, you can cash in on the basketball playoffs. So do not miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court into your Prize Picks lineups, whether it's points, rebounds, assists, or anything. Make sure to just pick more or less, and you get up to 2,000 times your cash. You think LeBron James will get more than 24 points? Think Giannis will score more than 35? Cook up those hot takes with your friends and win real money this basketball season when you and your crew run your game on Prize Picks. And all you got to do is sign up today, download the app, and use code CLNS. You get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS. And get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.